Tatyova Benthic Druid versus Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Now we've got some good cards in hand, but we'll need more lands than that. Just going to keep this and hope that Sisay doesn't get off to a really fast start, because this is a frightening commander once she gets going. We'll play out the forest in the hope that we go for Lotus Cobra next turn. Maybe should have led off with the island just in case we get into another blue source for the mana drain. But the aim here is to ramp in this deck, preferably. Turn 1 mana vault from our opponent, but we are not seeing a white source at least. Alright, there's another green, so let's go in for Lotus Cobra. That has landfall, add a mana of any colour. And there is our opponent's white source. They're not going in for their commander though. Let's go for Prophet of Kruphix we can't do yet, and we can cast our commander at instant speed with that. Let's just aim for getting down the Courser of Kruphix. We can't add double blue for the mana drain, unfortunately, because we'll likely need to get the double blue on our opponent's turn. So we'll get down the Courser of Kruphix, and we have Azusa coming. So Azusa coupled with Courser of Kruphix, allowing us to play lands off the top, might be really good. Not going to swing in with the Lotus Cobra, just in case there's a flash creature. I doubt there is in this deck, but I really don't want to lose Lotus Cobra. 3 colours our opponent is now up to, and make that 5 colours with the Commander Sphere. 5 cards left in hand, and they've got a lot of mana available to them. Hopefully we've got a pocket of lands on top. Well, we do not. But there's Ramunap and Azusa stuck together, so if we get into a fetch, then we shouldn't be struggling on lands this game. Let's play the Gaia's Cradle. That will trigger the Lotus Cobra. And we will add blue there. And we'll just have to go in for the Prophet of Kruphix. And then we're likely going to get our commander down next turn. And maybe we can go for Ramunap and Azusa. Prophet of Kruphix allows us to play cards on our opponent's turn, or creature cards specifically, and it also untaps all of our lands. Alright, they are officially in Wooburg. That's pretty impressive, just dropping down basics. That's some pretty good draws our opponent's gotten into. And there is Sisay. Not going to go for the reality shift. I think our opponent might scoop to that. We'll just go in for our commander. And we really need to get into a blue source here. A fetch on top would be nice, or a tropical island. That'll do. Let's play the tropical island straight off the top. And there's a cultivate as well, so we're going to draw into that. And then there is a command beacon on top. We'll add blue with the Lotus Cobra. Now let's go for Azusa. Our opponent knew about the Azusa because it was revealed off the top with the Corsair. We can make 2 additional land drops now with that. And there's some redundancy. Crucible of Worlds on top, so if Ramunap gets blown up, at least we've got a Crucible. We'll add green with the Lotus Cobra. Play yet another land off the top with Yavimaya Coast. And this is exactly what we want to be doing in this deck. We've really gotten off to the races now. Going to go for the Growth Spiral so that we can draw into that command tower and play it. And that will trigger landfall again for more life and mana and card draw. We draw into Crucible of Worlds. And that will get us into more life, mana and card draw. And we draw into Dig Through Time. There's yet another land on top. I think we're okay to shuffle that away, aren't we? So let's go for Cultivate. And we'll get a couple of blue sources here, one of which will enter play. And there is the fetch that we were after. We'll draw into that fetch. And then an Aboro on top. Don't think we're going to struggle on making landfall this game, but Aboro is good to get into anyway. Now we've still only got 3 blue available to us, so I'm not going to go for the Dig Through Time. Let's swing in at our opponent with these creatures. They're going to untap anyway. And then we've got Reality Shift held up for our opponent's commander. So if they decide to go for something big off of Captain Sisay, like a Hammer of Nazan, that's typically what Sisay goes for, then Reality Shift onto Sisay should ruin those plans. A Contagion Engine puts a minus counter on each of our creatures. I don't really like the sound of that, to be honest. So let's grab ourselves some mana with a mana drain. And our opponent scoops there. They were clearly counting on the Contagion Engine and then perhaps going for proliferating twice for 4 and a tap to get rid of our board. Yeah, that would have gotten rid of our entire board actually, because that would have been 3 minus counters on all of our stuff. Oh, the Corsair would have survived. So yeah, having 1 counter in hand really helping us out there. That was a pretty one-sided game, so I think we're going to get on with another one. Up against the same player again, Tatyova Benthic Druid and Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Yeah, that is an alright hand. It's not incredible. So we'll give our opponent a fighting chance here. We will get our Tropical Island out so that we can get down the Birds of Paradise. And our opponent starts things off with an Inventor's Fair into Pyramid of the Pantheon. You can pay 2 and tap to put a brick counter on it, then tap, add 3 mana of any one colour, but only if there are brick counters on that, so that's a really slow form of ramp for our opponent. We will just get down the breeding pool, there's nothing for us to do. And I don't really want to go for Chord of Calling onto a Dryad Arbor. I don't even know if Dryad Arbor's in the deck still. I can't remember. Okay, deciding to put a brick counter on there, and we did see Proliferate in the last game, so this might be some kind of counters-based deck. We'll just slow roll this out and get the forest, and yeah, we're just aiming for Tatyova next turn actually, so we can pretend to hold up counter magic. We did show our opponent in the last game that we have counters in the deck, and hopefully our opponent is going to make lands here. No, it might be another one-sided game unfortunately. Oh, Ancient Tomb into Primeval Titan. No, we won't do that. We'll just go in for our commander. Our opponent may well have some kind of removal for Tatyova. Yep, our opponent's missing lands, and they are very much reliant on this Pyramid of the Pantheon. Let's play the Misty Rainforest because it's a fetch, and therefore will give us landfall twice. There's a Mana Crypt. Not going to struggle on mana again this game. It's not likely that we ever will struggle on mana in a Lands Matter deck. Yeah, we do have Dryad Arbor in the deck. Let's drop the island. Okay, drawing into a Cultivate. I think we just go for Prime Time here. We'll grab ourselves a Field of the Dead. And a Reliquary Tower. We're 1 land away from making zombie tokens now, but we've got plenty of lands that we can get going with Cultivate and Ancient Tomb and Vesuva. Vesuva will come in as a copy of the Field of the Dead. And our opponent does manage to make a land drop, and they're now making use of the 3 mana from the Pyramid of the Pantheon, and they're able to untap that with Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner. So they've got plenty of mana. Might be worth us rifting the Pyramid so that they have to work on putting counters into it again. Now, yeah, this is obviously some kind of Super Friends deck. Going for an unsummon onto Primeval Titan. That's not the worst thing they could do. May well be time to start holding up counter magic. Let's go for Mana Crypt. Vesuva can come into play as a copy of Field of the Dead. And then we'll get some lands into play to trigger both of our Fields of the Dead. Going in for some islands here. Oh, I've miscounted. I thought we'd get some triggers there. How many is it? It's 7. I thought it was 6. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 different names of lands. So we'll actually start getting triggers once we get down Ancient Tomb. That's my mistake. Get down the Simic Signet. And then we will go in at Jace with Tatyova. And just to keep our opponent in the game, I'm not going to bounce the Pyramid with the Cyclonic Rift. I think that would certainly knock them out of this game. We will definitely trigger Field of the Dead this time because we're going for the Prime Time again. Not going to hold up counter magic either. think it's been yet another one-sided game, unfortunately. Let's go Gaia's Cradle and Waterlogged Grove in case we want to draw some cards. And there we are. There are the Field of the Dead triggers. We'll get those for the rest of the game, assuming that we keep our different named lands in play. So for each land that comes into play now, we'll get 2 zombies. And we don't have to discard down to hand size thanks to the Reliquary Tower. Inexorable Tide has now come into play. That's proliferate whenever you cast a spell. It's a good way to put counters onto these cheap planeswalkers from War of the Spark, because a lot of them can't plus up. They're not struggling on mana anymore. They miss land drops for plenty of turns. Ooh, Ashiok. Yeah, that will get rid of our graveyard. We don't have Ramunap or Crucible in this game, but we do have a fetch in hand anyway, so might save that if our opponent can exile graveyards. But we're not going to have any trouble getting rid of these planeswalkers now. And speaking of getting rid of the planeswalkers, let's send a couple of zombies. Not in at Kiora. Let's send them in at Ashiok. And then it can be Primeval Titan into Kiora along with a zombie. And then our opponent can take 5 from the other zombie and Tatyova. That obviously triggers the Primeval Titan again. And somehow, I don't know why, I just passed priority to the trigger there and it just skipped the entire trigger. Okay. Well, anyway, I think we're winning this game, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go for the Ancient Tomb and get some more zombies. And then we'll go for Chord of Calling onto Azusa so that we can get some more lands into play. And each of those will trigger Tatyova and Field of the Dead. And then we've got 3 floating mana, so we might as well go for Nissa. We can't flip her over because we've made all of our land drops. And we'll just leave it at that. We should be swinging in for lethal next turn. If our opponent has a board wipe, they'll need it to be something like Supreme Will. A Throne of Geth, and they get a proliferate there. Sacrifice an artifact to proliferate. Yeah, definitely some kind of counters deck, general counters. Oh, and there's Kiora, the Crushing Wave, one of my favourite planeswalkers. And it's probably the planeswalker that I've had the most success with regards to getting a limit break off. Our opponent clearly just wanted to show us what they had in their hand. We could have countered that, but all we were going to do there is ignore the Kiora and go straight in at our opponent's face for lethal. We were drawing into, yeah, crop rotation next turn is irrelevant. Not trying to showboat in games like this. It's just that if a deck that I'm running runs well and I get to show the audience exactly what it is that the deck is trying to do, then I will upload those as opposed to the ones where I just get mana screwed and neither deck is particularly interesting in my opinion. So like I said, not trying to showboat here and say what a great commander player I am, because clearly we were up against a more casual player with a casual deck, and they were really unlucky with land drops at the beginning of the game, so a bit of an exhibition match to show what Tatyova can do. I don't have all the time in the world to record videos and get videos out every single day, so sometimes one-sided matches like this will have to do, I'm afraid. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.